season is already halfway over. Yeah, it's depressing. So to try to make us feel better, we're going to give out 10 NFL midseason awards. I'm talking offensive player, comeback player, the most cooked team, and leading all the way to the very end, MVP. So grab a snack, hit the like button, and subscribe to the channel because, brother, it's time to give out some awards. And starting us off, our very first mid-season award, we have Offensive Rookie. Now, this one is tough because there's been a bunch, and I mean a bunch, of really good rookies, right? You know, Cam Scadaboo, God bless his soul, pour one out for our little CTE demon. You know, he was having a fantastic start to his rookie year before it unfortunately ended. You also have Emeka Egbuka, who's been fantastic, a literal top 10, possibly even top 5 wide receiver so far this season. You know, he had a little bit of a slump before his bye, but he's still been absolutely amazing. You also have Jackson Dart, who's been amazing, right? He's been an absolute revelation to the Giants, but not only has he given that cursed franchise some hope, he's also just been straight up good, you know, passing the ball, rushing the ball. He's been a great quarterback. Honestly, maybe a top 5 quarterback so far. We'll see how the rest of the season goes, but so far he's been amazing and definitely a candidate for Rookie of the Year. And you have some honorable mentions like Tyler Warren, who's been great, Travion Henderson, who's showing some life. So a bunch of great rookies this year, but if I have to pick, I'm going to give out the Offensive Rookie of the Year award to Emeka Egbuka. I was really leaning Jackson Dart, but he's gotten hurt, and I don't think this will be the last time he gets hurt this season. Hopefully he doesn't, but, you know, he just plays in a little bit of a dangerous way. I respect it, though. But yeah, Emeka Egbuka, he's been fantastic. Congratulations, your award is in the mail. Moving on to our next award, we have Defensive Rookie. Now, just like offensive rookies, there's been a bunch of good defensive rookies, too. You got Carson Schweschinger, you got Abdul Carter, you got Malaki Starks, you got a bunch of really good options. But if I had to bet on which rookie is going to make the biggest impact and have, you know, just simply the best rookie season out of all these possible candidates, I have to go with Abdul Carter of the New York Giants. Congratulations, brother. You were a monster, and you scare me. Okay, you scare me. Please don't hurt me. Moving on to our next mid-season award, we have the Offensive Player. Now, for the best offensive player so far, this one was actually somewhat easy, okay? There's been a bunch of really good players, right? Christian McCaffrey, my GOAT. You got Jamar Chase. You got literally the one and only Puka Nacua. But as great as those 3 players are, there are 2 clear-cut candidates that come to mind. Jonathan Taylor of the Indianapolis Colts, who is not only like a clear candidate for Offensive Player of the Year, but also the MVP, okay? Yeah, the very often quarterback award, the MVP. Yeah, he has been so good on offense that he's literally a straight-up candidate for the overall MVP. He's having a historic season, an absolute demon on the field, but also has some competition. With Jackson Smith and Jigba, baby, the elite wide receiver having another historic season just like Jonathan Taylor. JSN is so much fun to watch. He has been insanely efficient. Sam Darnold and him are a match made in heaven, and it's honestly between those 2, Jackson Smith and Jigba and Jonathan Taylor. The offensive player of the midseason so far, the one, the only, Jonathan Taylor. Congratulations, your trophy is in the mail. Now on to our next mid-season award, we have Defensive Player. Now I'm gonna be straight up honest. I'm gonna keep it 100, maybe even 101. But this award was actually the easiest probably to decide, you know, just to decide the winner. You know, there's been a bunch of really good defenders so far, right? You got Nick Bonito, you got Aiden Hutchinson, you got Micah freaking Parsons. But there's this one guy that just stands out to me, especially because he's had like an insane game, and we all know which one I'm talking about. Myles freaking Garrett. Myles Garrett is, to no one's surprise, having a great season like always, but the fact that he recorded 5 sacks in one game is just stupid. What's even stupider, though, is that they lost that game that he got 5 sacks in. But you know what? That's the Browns. They're going to do that. But yeah, Myles Garrett has just been so elite. He's always been elite, but this year, it's on a different level, okay? He's literally single-handedly holding the Cleveland Browns on their own because, you know, the defense is good, but the offense is horrific, and he actually gives them a chance to win, even though they never do. But yeah, congratulations, Myles Garrett, on the midseason Defensive Player of the Year. Your trophy is in the mail. Moving on to our next midseason award, we have the Comeback Player. Now, everyone has their opinion on, like, the criteria for who should win comeback player. Should it be a player that sucked last year? Should it be a player that was injured last year? There is a bunch of opinions out there. But mine, it's the only correct one and the only one that matters in this video. It is the player that's come back from injury, okay? Like, if you want to say that, the comeback player should be someone that just sucked last year and now they're actually good, then go ahead and make like a most improved award, okay? Make a whole separate award like, oh, congratulations, you sucked ass last year. You did better this year. Here's your award. Go ahead and do that. But comeback player should actually have a comeback. They had to come back from something, not just sucking ass. So yeah, now that you know my criteria, a player that came back from an injury, it's got to be the one, the only, my GOAT. I'm not even going to mention other contenders because I don't care enough. Actually, I do. Stephon Diggs, who came back from a nasty injury. Aiden Hutchinson, who had a gruesome ass injury. Like that, I still have nightmares of that one. Dak Prescott, who literally had his hamstring like falling off the bone. That's how bad his injury was. But you already know that I had to give the comeback player of the midseason award to my GOAT. The guy who had literally tendinitis in his Achilles. He had tendinitis and Achilles. You think that bothers my GOAT? The one, the only, the chosen one, Christian McCaffrey. I mean, bro, CMC barely even played last year. He was so injured. He comes back this year. He's like a top 2 running back behind JT. And you look at the receiving yards, bro, he's like number 7 out of all players. I'm not just talking running backs. I'm talking wide receivers. Why am I talking so high? No, but literally, CMC is on. He is a top 10 receiver in yards out of wide receivers too. I'm talking Puka Nacua, JSN. He's the only running back on that list. So, he's the man that can do it all. He's the jack of all trades. I love this man, Christian McCaffrey. Brother, your trophy is in the mail. Moving on to our next midseason award, we have the most improved team. Now, I teased you about how the NFL should, possibly make a most improved award for a player. Well, I just did it, okay? I just made the award right here, right now, before a team. Now, there's actually a good amount of teams that were straight up cheeks last year, and now they're actually pretty good. Starting off with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who finished 4-13 last year. Now, granted, there's a lot of season left, but currently the Jags, they're 5-4, which, isn't amazing, but still, it's a winning record, and they already have more wins than they had last year, so that's already a dub. But the defense is actually a lot better, and the offense has some juice. They had flashes last year, but now, before Travis Hunter unfortunately went down, they have a lot more weapons. Parker Washington, Brian Thomas, bust. Just a bunch of more weapons. Brendan Strange has come on. Just overall, the team has leveled up, even though it's still early. I think they've improved quite dramatically. You also have the Chicago Bears, who finished 5-12 last year, and they already have 5 wins this year. I mean, hell, they already have 6 wins. They're 6-3. They look way better. Okay, that's crazy how much a coach can change the team, but the offense actually has some juice. Caleb playing a lot better. The defense, still a little sketch, a little sussy for sure, but they're getting healthier, and they just overall, they just look more competent. I think a lot of it has to do with Ben Johnson, but yeah, the Bears, they've definitely improved from last year. But the winner for the most improved team so far has to go to, and when I looked up their record last year, I honestly couldn't even believe it. The one, the only, the New England Patriots, who were 4-13. Is that not insane? 4-13, bro. Like, what? Like, I knew they were bad, but damn, that's stinky. But yeah, the Patriots are 9-2. They currently hold the NFL's best record. They went from 4-13 last year to 9-2. And I will say though, a little bit of an asterisk, just a small, tiny, little petite one. They have had a very easy schedule, okay? And I'm not a Patriots hater. I'm not a Drake May hater. I'm none of that, okay? I'm just a hater. But they have had, I saw a tweet today. I saw a tweet that said they've had like the historically easiest schedule. I'm just pointing it out. They're still a great team. Their defense, solid. Their offense, great. I'm just saying. Maybe this is more of like a, maybe I should save this for the Super Bowl prediction award, but nonetheless, let me save that for later. The best and most improved team so far of the midseason so far is the New England Patriots. Congrats, guys. Your trophies in the mail. And moving on to our next midseason award, the best coach so far. Now, I'll keep this one short and sweet. There's been a lot of great coaches, right? You got Shane Steichen of the Colts. You got Kyle Shanahan of the Niners. You got freaking Mike McDonald had a farm on the Seahawks. But personally, in my opinion, the coach that has done the most with the least is the one and only Mike Vrabel of the New England Patriots. Now, I'm not saying that the Patriots were a horrific team when he inherited them, but like compared to the other teams, like I think the Seahawks had a way better roster. The Niners had a way better roster. Hell, even the Colts had a better roster. So what Mike Vrabel has done for that defense and also offense has been nothing short of miraculous. So yeah, Mike Vrabel, congratulations. Your trophy is in the mail. Our next award, we have the one that you don't want to see your team win, the most cooked team so far. Now, this was another easy one for me to pick because there's only really a couple options. You got the New York Jets, who, yeah, they're absolutely horrible. They just sold half their team to the rest of the league, but I still think they're better than these other options, like the New Orleans Saints, who are absolutely cheeks on defense, and their offense isn't much better. That's why they sold, Rashid Shaheed and other players at the deadline, but still, I think there's a worse team than that, and it's either between the Tennessee Titans or the Las Vegas Raiders. Both teams are just kind of hopeless right now. They seem to be in some like kind of weird limbo where they just can't escape the wrongdoings of like their front office and stuff like that. Their roster's horrific, but if I had to pick, it's got to be the Tennessee Titans because at least somewhat the Raiders have a good head coach. They got somewhat of a better roster. Where the Titans, oh my God, bro, they've already fired their head coach before Thanksgiving. Holy hell, brother, that's a bad sign. Their roster, oh my God, that defense. What is this, JV? What is this, middle school kids? Like, what are we doing here, bro? Absolutely a joke. And their offense, bro. You got to give Cam Ward more than a year to prove himself, but still, not a great start. Congrats, Tennessee Titans. You are the most cooked team so far. Moving on to our second to last award so far of the midseason, we have my Super Bowl Favorite. Now, this isn't really like an award, but I'm going to count it as an award to give to who I predict is the best team so far in the league and who I believe will win the Super Bowl. Now, this one's really tough, but the timing of this video is going to be so cool to see because I'm recording this on Friday, November 14th. So it's the week of the Rams and Seahawks game. And those two teams are currently happens to be my two favorites for the Super Bowl. Now, obviously, they can't play each other in the Super Bowl, but like, if I had to pick the best two teams that come to my mind instantly, it's the Rams and Seahawks. The Seahawks defense, great. Their offense, super good. The Rams defense, stellar. Their offense, firing on all cylinders. These are the two scariest teams, not the Chiefs, not the Bills, not the Broncos. It is just the straight up the Seahawks or the Rams. So I cannot wait to see what happens on this game. It's going to be absolute cinema. But if I had to pick, I have to pick which team is my favorite to win the Super Bowl. I got to pick the Rams. Now, if you're saying, oh, that's because you live in California, okay, fine. That's a little bit of it, but I just think the Rams' offense is so good and unstoppable, and their defense is so underrated. I mean, it's not underrated, but like, it's better than people even realize, bro. Like, they're like the best against the run. Their offense is just insanely good with Matt Stafford healthy, Puka Nacua. I mean, they're just firing on all cylinders. I will say, though, in my gut, I do pick the Seahawks, but in my heart, I picked the Rams. It's so hard because the Rams offense is better than the Seattle offense, but the Seattle defense is better than the Rams. So like they're the perfectly even match. So can I pick both teams? No? And that leads us to our very last award, the award of the midseason that you've been waiting the whole video for, the most valuable player. Now, I've been low-key dreading picking the winner of this award because I don't know, man. There's so many good options. And for the longest time and forever, it feels like there's no clear favorite. Like, yeah, we're only still halfway in the season, but still. Usually there's like a clear candidate where it's like, oh yeah, it's most likely gonna be this guy. Possibly someone could steal it, but no, it's probably this guy. This year, it's like, brother, where am I, bro? I don't know where I am because I don't know who's gonna win it, bro. You got Matthew Stafford. You got possibly a non-quarterback, Jonathan Taylor, or Jackson Smith-Njigba. You got Patrick Mahomes, probably not likely, but maybe, you never know. You could have Lamar Jackson, who can make a historic run and win all games out to make the playoffs. You can never forget about Josh Allen, who can also turn it on in an instant. But right now, the clear favorite, and this is not in my opinion, but on the sports books, it's Drake May. Now, just because he's the favorite doesn't mean that I'm going to agree with it, okay? I'm my own man, okay? I'm going to make my own damn opinion, brother. And I'm not going to go with Drake May. Now, here come the tomatoes. Gosh, the tomatoes being thrown at me. I don't think... Okay, I promise I'm not like, I hinted at it earlier. I'm not a Drake May hater. I'm not a Patriots hater. But I just don't think he's the most valuable player to his team. Like I said, this is the player. The award should go to the player who this team literally suffers greatly. I want them to suffer. No, the team that suffers the most without this player's presence, okay? If you took away Drake May from the Patriots, would they be worse? Yes. Would they be horrific and unable to function? I don't think so. Yeah, they would be worse, but I think they would be able to make it work. Their defense is good enough, and their offense has enough playmakers to make it happen, even with the backup quarterback. Now let's go to Matthew Stafford. If you took Matthew Stafford away from the Rams, well, how would that work? I don't really know. I think they would be really bad. I really do. Same with Jonathan Taylor. Same with Jackson Smith-Njigba. So it's between those three for me. Matthew Stafford, Jonathan Taylor, and Jackson Smith-Njigba. But let's go further and narrow it down from there. You take JSN away from the Seahawks, they're worse. But I still think they have enough weapons to make it work. And that leaves only two players, Jonathan Taylor and Matthew Stafford. So which team would be paralyzed without one of these players? Which team would be so bad without them that they couldn't function? All right, so take away Jonathan Taylor away from the Colts. Are they still a good team? Yeah, I think so. Replace Jonathan Taylor with DJ Giddens or whoever, right? I think they're still a good enough team to compete. Now take away Matthew Stafford away from the Rams. Let's say replace him with Jimmy G or whoever. They're cooked. And that's why my current midseason MVP goes to Matthew Stafford. Now, that's probably going to be a hot take. I do think JT and Matthew Stafford are neck and neck. It's still the midseason. So much can happen, and anything can change that. But still, Stafford has been elite. He's been incredible. He makes that offense run. Without him, they really crumble. So, as much as I love Jonathan Taylor and how good he's been, it's so close, bro. Can I just make it a tie? Can I just make it a tie? Can I make it a tie? I can't? Okay. Matthew Stafford. But just know, in my heart, I want to go Jonathan Taylor, okay? I think he's been so good, bro. He's been elite. He's been amazing. But I just can't pick. I'm going with the tie, bro. This is my channel. I'm going with the tie. Matthew Stafford, Jonathan Taylor, congratulations. Your trophy is in the mail. But that's going to do it. Those are my 10 mid-season NFL awards. Let me know down in the comments below which ones you agree with, which ones you don't. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of hot takes, a lot of people that don't agree, but that's why they created a comment section, baby. Let me know what you got thinking on your mind. If you liked this video, let me know by leaving the video a like. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and join our Discord down below. The link is in the description. Join the community. I promise it'll improve your life. But yeah, that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate y'all. And I cannot wait to see how bad these takes age. So yeah, but that's what the internet was created for, baby. Making yourself look like a fool. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. And I'll see you in the next one. See ya.